Okay, so for this chapter, we've been doing a lot of statistics. So in 10.6, we are going to start talking about probability, specifically the probability of simple events. So when you attempt a free throw, there are two possible results, making or missing the shot. Each result is an outcome. So a simple event is one outcome or a collection of outcomes. The probability of an event is the ratio that compares the number of favorable outcomes to the number of possible outcomes. So you see here, this is what we really need to know out of this, plus our vocab. Then the probability of an event is a number between 0 and 1 that expresses the likelihood of the event occurring. The probability, or the closer a probability is to 1, the more likely it is to occur. So you see down here, if we have a 0%, it is impossible. 50% is equally likely and unlikely, and then 100% is certain. So in between each of these, so from 0 to 50, it's unlikely. If our percent is from 50 to 100, it's likely. So now notice we have percentages. We also have the numbers, so 1, 0.75, 0.5, 0.25, and 0. You might be asked for the percentage, or you might be asked for that number between 0 and 1. Now, it cannot be more than 1 or more than 100. You can't have more than 100% chance of something happening. And then last up for this side, the set of all possible outcomes is called the sample space. Okay, so check out our first example here. A bag contains 7 pink, 2 white, and 6 blue marbles. 1 marble is selected without looking, and we want to find the probability that it is blue. Once we find that probability, we would then want to describe the likelihood of the event by writing impossible, unlikely, equally likely, likely, or certain. So it's asking for 2 answers here. So if you flip back, you see we want the number of favorable outcomes over the number of possible outcomes. So if I'm looking for the probability that I draw a blue marble, so the favorable outcomes, how many ways can we draw a blue? That is 6. Then how many total? 7 plus 2 plus 6 gives us 15 possibilities. So 6 divided by 15 is 0.4 or 40%. So 0.4 or 40% would be your first. Probability of blue is 40%. Which, if we then look back at our chart here, 40% would fall down here. So we would label that as unlikely. Now note, guys, if we ask for the probability, we're not looking for the words, we're looking for the numbers. Please make sure you're reading the question. Okay, next one. Katie rolls a 6-sided number cube whose sides are numbered 1 through 6, so our normal dice. We want to find the probability of rolling an even. So the probability of even, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So how many of them are even? 2, 4, and 6 are even, so that's 3 out of 6 possibilities, which gives us 0.5 or 50%. So again, our probability of rolling an even is 0.5 or 50%, which we would label as equally likely. All right, so there are 2 examples of simple events, the probability of simple events. If we flip it over, we now want to find the probability of the complement. So another vocab word here. The complement of a set is the set of all objects that do not belong to the given set. So 2 events are complementary if one or the other must happen, but they cannot happen at the same time. For example, when you roll a number cube, the number cube must land on an even number or an odd number, but can't land on both. The sum of the probability of an event and its complement is 1 or 100% if you're doing percentages. Okay, so a lot of words there. If we look at our example, we want to find the probability of not blue from example 1. Then again, describe the likelihood of the event. So the probability of not blue. Okay, if you remember from that example, there were 15 total marbles, so 15 total possibilities. If we just flip back here, so not blue, so how many of them are not blue? We have 7 pink and 2 white. So there are 9 ways that it would not happen, which divides out to 0.6 or 60%. And if you flip back to our graph here, 60% is going to fall up here. So that would be likely. Then notice the probability that it was blue was 40%. The probability that it's not blue is 60%. 40 plus 60 gives us our 100%. Okay, then this next one here, find the probability of not 6 when you roll a standard number cube, then describe the likelihood of the event. So standard number cube, again, has numbers 1 through 6. So not 6, well, there's 6 total possibilities, so 6 on your denominator. Then if we listed our numbers 1 through 6, there are 5 of them that are not a 6. So 5 over 6, which gives us rounded 0.83 or 83%, which would be likely. And that is the end of this section. It was nice and short. Just don't forget, if it's asking for the probability, we're looking for that number. We're not looking for the words.